Mayor Brandon Johnson is expected to face numerous challengers in next year's February election, but today he was fending off questions about running for re-election while also taking shots at would-be rivals. Mayor Brandon Johnson sitting down for a wide-ranging interview this afternoon, seemingly unconcerned about the 2027 election and who might be running against him.
I know that there are some folks who are politicking already. That's, I understand it, I do. But when people see me all over the city of Chicago, they're not asking about my re-election.
Today, the mayor continued to deflect about his political future. Are you planning to run for a second term?
Well, right now, my plan is to continue to drive violence down the city of Chicago to make sure that we're investing in communities. As I've said repeatedly, there will be plenty of time for politics.
A lot of people do both at the same time.
Yeah, and I've done both at the same time. As a Cook County Commissioner, I was governing and I ran for mayor, so it's clear that I know how to multitask. I can govern and run for something. I've done it multiple times. Not only have I done it multiple times, I've won every time.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this because the Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, who was one of these far-left progressive Democrat mayors that continues to destroy major cities in this country, is now receiving a lot of deserved heat because he, along with the governor, J.B. Pritzker, they basically made it unbearable to remain in Chicago. You got businesses and residents leaving the state, fleeing, and instead of focusing on protecting American citizens, they are more concerned about protecting illegal aliens, which is why after the 18-year-old college student Sheridan Gorman tragically lost her life to an illegal alien, it took several days before they even made a statement. But now they finally have, and color me shocked, they're blaming the president. And so in this video, we're going to break it all down. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you smash that thumbs up button. That's the best way to let me know. Stay locked in with future videos, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. That way YouTube never forgets to let you know when I drop. Let's jump right into it.
I think they're going to get votes by doing that. On Thursday, a precious 18-year-old college student named Sheridan Gorman was shot and killed while she was walking in a park. She was just walking into the park, didn't do anything. The illegal alien monster charged with Sheridan's brutal murder had come illegally from Venezuela and been released into our country by Sleepy Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. And I don't say that because I think he's fine, he's okay. I don't like him, dislike him. I talk about job performance. That's all I care about, job performance. Worst president in history. And Obama wasn't far behind, by the way. But he was then arrested and released again by Democrat governor, a real slob of a governor, J.B. Pritzker, in the sanctuary city of Chicago, which we could make safe in 2 months, I would say. 2 months if we sent in the group, Tom, right? 2 months would be good. 3 months, very good. 4 or 5 months, it would be great. But they would never call because they don't want to do that. All they have to do is call and ask for a little help. The Democrats in Congress do not care how much American blood they shed in their demented pursuit of open borders. From Sheridan Gorman to Jocelyn Nungary and Laken Riley, their quest to flood our country with illegal aliens has left countless American victims in its wake. They never changed. They see what's happening. They never change. That's what they want. They want to get the votes.
Yeah, so you heard that. And what makes this just so obviously just so hypocritical is that, it was just not that long ago you had Brandon Johnson. He was quick. It almost seemed as if he couldn't wait to get in front of a mic when it came to the events that took place in Minneapolis with the ICE officers and the 2 individuals who lost their lives after confrontations that took place. Marches in Chicago in remembrance of those individuals. But now you have a situation literally happening in your front yard in Chicago between an illegal alien and a college student, innocent college student, just living life. Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker were absolutely silent. Nothing to say until now. And, well, take a listen.
Sheridan Gorman, who is dead at the hands of a suspect, an illegal alien, who, once again, was out on the streets because of your policies. Okay?
What's your question?
He wanted, I'm sorry, don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt
Get to the
me.
question. Respect
Don't
everybody's
interrupt
time.
me. Respect the question.
What question?
Respect the question.
Ask it. What's the question? All right, Craig.
Could you have a little respect? Do you have anything? You didn't even issue a statement, which I guess is better than the statement you released,
We got it.
announcing that Bethany McGee was an isolated incident, which is an insult, which is almost evil.
Please get to the question, sir.
Did you coordinate with Governor Pritzker not to release statements as a way of trying to diminish the death?
I think I understand your question.
Sheridan,
So there was no coordination, between me or any other level of government around this tragedy. What I can say is it is a tragedy, and look, as someone who, someone who is raising a
You don't have
family.
any problem interrupting me, do you?
Do you want the answer to your question?
I want to answer the question here. And look, as I said in my opening remarks, as I prepare to send my child off to college, of course you want to send them into a place that they're going to thrive and grow. And it's heartbreaking. It's a tragedy. And what I can say, though, is that my work to continue to create safe and affordable communities, that work doesn't stop when we have a tragedy like this. And as we continue to grieve the loss of Sheridan and other victims who have fallen because of senseless violence, we're going to double down on our efforts to ensure that we create safe communities across the city.
Yeah, and so you hear the frustration from the reporter asking Brandon Johnson that question, and you can see why. I mean, the city you work and you live in, and you see what's allowed to happen, which are very preventable, right? And so you have Brandon Johnson, who has not done what he said when it comes to keeping communities safe. You're doubling down on safety, but you won't even cooperate with ICE to remove illegal aliens when they get arrested for committing crimes after coming to Chicago and receiving the protections that Democrats provide in sanctuary cities? Make that make sense. In fact, the only thing Johnson has doubled down on is providing more protections for illegal aliens in the city of Chicago. Take a listen.
Emphatic way. We will not cooperate with ICE.
And division. Look, we are a welcoming city ordinance. Our local police department will not ever cooperate with ICE. Whatever.
Today, we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
So it's hypocritical to say that you are for public safety, but then also support sanctuary city policies. They do not fit together. But let's continue.
We're going to continue to pray for those victims.
Will you take this opportunity to apologize to Sheridan's parents for the policies that you have promoted that would directly caused her death? That suspect would not be in the city, would not be in the country, but for your policies. Will you take this opportunity to apologize?
Well, again, I believe that we're all grieving the loss of Sheridan and other folks who have lost their lives because of senseless violence. And let's just be very clear, between the Safety Act and the Welcoming City Ordinance, the Welcoming City Ordinance was passed 40 years ago by the first black mayor in the history of Chicago. And the Safety Act was passed under the governor at that time, who was a Republican, Governor Rauner. Thank you for your questions.
So you will not apologize to Sheridan's parents?
Hi, Mayor.
No apologies. You have nothing to say to them.
At the beginning of this video, I showed you guys a clip where they were discussing Brandon Johnson, whether he would be running for re-election in 2027, ladies and gentlemen. Chicago actually re-elects this guy. I can only assume one of two things, and maybe both are true. Either one, Chicago is just so corrupt that someone like Johnson can get reelected, or Chicago Democrats are that far gone with their progressive politics that this is what they want. But now let's jump into the next clip. You got J.B. Pritzker, who is the governor, finally made a statement. And of course, he had to blame the president. Take a listen.
I agree, there have been real failures. Those failures, of course, extend beyond the borders of Illinois. That's their national failures, a failure to have comprehensive immigration reform, a failure of the president to follow his own edict to go after the worst of the worst.
Illinois Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker pointing the finger at President Trump while addressing the murder of 18-year-old Loyola University student Sheridan Gorman. The suspected killer, an illegal immigrant with priors, but Pritzker's condolences may be too little too late for the freshman's family who have promised justice for Sheridan.
So they're blaming the president for this tragic death that took place at the hands of another illegal alien. But when the president wanted to remove illegal aliens in Chicago, Pritzker encouraged protesters, refused to work with ICE, and basically did what he could from his position to make their jobs, federal agents, make their jobs harder. Oh, and on top of that, ICE-free zones in Chicago, yeah, that became a thing. But now it's the president's fault. Make that make sense. Yeah, at this point, it would be laughable how often Democrats use that as an excuse if it wasn't harming the American people. But let's go to one more Democrat, Dollar Tree Obama, Hakeem Jeffries. Take a listen.
An illegal immigrant has been charged with murdering a college student in Chicago last week. Do House Democrats believe if he's convicted, he's someone who should be deported?
I'll look into the case.
Do you expect any...
It's a measurement test for these politicians that I use. Listen, because I get it. They play the game. I don't deny that. But there should be a basic baseline stance that shouldn't be hard to answer when it comes to just some basics. I mean, what is a woman? If a person is in this country illegally, commits a crime, violently harms an American citizen, should they remain in this country? I mean, this is not complicated stuff, right? But Democrats, this is how they answer, always, because of their TDS, which doesn't allow them to see basic things clearly. But let's go ahead and jump into this next clip. A Chicago woman unloads on Democrats following this senseless death. Take a listen.
What goes through your mind as you listen to his reaction today and you look back at what he said right after President Trump's election?
Obviously, Governor Pritzker does not care about the American people. He hasn't said anything about Sheridan. He actually went to Minnesota to put down flowers for Renee Good, but did not go to the lakefront where he filmed an ad to show how safe Chicago is that's now stained with her blood. He hasn't gone there to drop a rose. We are tired, America. We need help. I've been sitting here in this chair for 2 years asking the federal government to supersede the policies that are making the American people sitting ducks for criminals, literal criminals who crawl through a hole in the gate and are being subsidized with our tax dollars. How much more can we take? She's not the first woman to be killed by an illegal in this city, in this country, but yet every time we ask for the help and we get the help, we have our local officials here who send out their liberal army to go out and fight against them. And we're asking everybody to now get out the way and let them do their work. Mr. President, we need another Tomahawk helicopter here in the city of Chicago at Leona Park Beach Shelter. That's where that man lives. And if there was one gun in there, there are several guns in there. They are terrorizing and harassing the American people, and our local officials refuse to do anything about it. So we're asking you, please, President Trump, come save us. Sheridan didn't deserve to die, and we don't want more of American blood to be spilled on the sidewalk by these invaders.
Listen, all of this comes back to the beginning of the video. Brandon Johnson talking about re-election in 2027. If Chicago really wants to change, the people of Chicago have to change. It's been literally decades since Chicago has elected a Republican. And listen, that won't solve everything, not at all. But what do you have to lose? It won't be as bad. I think you can guarantee that much. It won't be as bad as it's been under a Democrat, under their leadership. For certain, I think we can at least say that. But those are my thoughts on the update. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your comments down below. As always, smash that thumbs up button if you do enjoy the content. For more, subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.